Have you ever noticed? Someone can say something to you just once, and years later, you can still hear it. Maybe it was, "You're lazy."
You're too sensitive.
He'll never amount to anything.
You talk too much.
Why can't you be more like your brother?
Maybe it came from a parent, a teacher, someone you loved, or someone who barely knew you. What's strange, we forget thousands of conversations. We forget birthdays, phone numbers, what we had for dinner 3 nights ago. But somehow, one sentence can stay with us for decades. Why? Maybe you've asked yourself, why can't I just let it go? Or maybe someone has told you, you're living in the past.
Just move on. Stop thinking about it.
But what if the problem isn't that you're weak? What if your mind has been doing exactly what it was designed to do? Our brains remember what feels important. Our brains don't store every moment equally. They pay attention to what feels important, especially what feels dangerous. Long before humans had homes, or schools, or jobs, remembering danger helped people survive. If touching a certain plant made you sick, you needed to remember it. If someone in another village tried to hurt you, you needed to remember them. That ability to remember threats helped our ancestors survive. Today, physical danger isn't the only thing our brains notice. Sometimes, emotional pain gets stored the same way, especially when it happens over and over. Most of us grew up hearing, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." Maybe it was meant to teach resilience. Maybe it was meant to remind us not to give bullies power. But if we're honest, we know words can hurt. Think about a broken leg. If it heals correctly, eventually you may walk like you never broke it. But if it never heals correctly, you might spend years walking with a limp. Not because you're weak, because the injury was never fully healed. Emotional wounds work much the same way. The difference is, no cast, no x-ray, no one signs them, no one asks how they're healing. They're invisible. Doesn't mean they aren't real. And sometimes, those unseen wounds quietly shape the rest of our lives. When we're born, we don't arrive with a finished picture of who we are. We're learning every day, every conversation, every experience. Especially as children, our minds are like sponges. We're constantly learning. Whether people are safe, whether love feels secure, whether mistakes are allowed, whether we're accepted, whether we're enough. We don't just learn facts, we learn beliefs. Imagine hearing, "You're lazy." Once, it hurts. But hearing it again and again, something begins to change. Eventually, it stops sounding like someone else's opinion. It starts sounding like the truth. Not because it is, because you've heard it enough that it becomes familiar. The truth is, most of us aren't living our lives based only on facts. We're living our lives based on the stories we've come to believe about ourselves. And sometimes, those stories were written long before we were old enough to question whether they were true. So, who wrote that story? That's not a question many of us have ever stopped to ask. But I think it's one of the most important questions we can. Understanding where a belief began doesn't erase the hurt. It doesn't rewrite the past. But it gives us somewhere to begin. Because it's hard to change a story if we've never stopped to ask who the author was. But finding the beginning is only the beginning. Because once we recognize where a story may have come from, there's another question worth asking. What has that story been doing in my life? Think about it. If somewhere along the way you came to believe, I'm not good enough, how many decisions have you made trying to prove that you are? If you believe, people always leave, how might that affect the way you love? Do you hold people at a distance? Do you panic when someone pulls away? Do you leave first so they don't get the chance? If the story is, my feelings don't matter, how often do you stay quiet when something hurts? If it's, I have to be perfect to be loved, what happens when you make a mistake? And if somewhere inside you lives the belief, I'm too much, how many times have you made yourself smaller just to make someone else comfortable? This is where these old words can become so much bigger than words. They can become filters. Filters through which we interpret relationships, rejection, conflict, failure, even love. And sometimes we're reacting to what's happening today through a story that began years ago. So how do we begin separating the story from what's actually happening? Probably not by standing in front of a mirror and repeating, I'm good enough. There's nothing wrong with encouraging yourself, but you can't expect a belief you've carried for 20 years to disappear because you argued with it for 20 seconds. Instead, we can get curious. The next time you notice one of those beliefs showing up, don't immediately fight it. Notice it and ask, what actually happened? Not what I'm afraid happened, not what I assume it means. What do I actually know? Then ask, what story did my mind attach to it? Maybe someone didn't answer your text. That's what happened. But your mind immediately says, they're mad at me. I did something wrong. They're pulling away. Those might be possibilities, but they aren't facts. There could be 10 other explanations, and sometimes simply creating that little bit of space between what happened and what we believe it means gives us room to respond differently. Ask, what evidence do I have that this belief is true? And just as importantly, What evidence have I been ignoring that says it isn't? If the belief is, I'm a failure, don't replace it with, I'm amazing at everything. Neither statement requires much examination. Instead ask, where have I failed? Where have I succeeded? What have I learned? What have I survived? What am I still working on? Maybe the more accurate story isn't, I'm a failure. Maybe it's, I've failed at things. Those are two very different statements. One describes something you've experienced. The other defines who you are. And this is where there's real reason for hope. Because the human brain isn't frozen in time. We continue learning throughout our lives. New experiences matter. Healthy relationships matter. The way we speak to ourselves matters. The way we respond when those old beliefs appear matters. Does that mean 20 years of hurt disappears tomorrow? No. Healing is a process. Some wounds may need more support than we can give ourselves alone. And asking for that support is part of healing too. But the words that shaped us don't have to become the words that define us forever. We can't control what someone once said to us. We can't go back and make them unsay it. But we can begin deciding whether we're going to continue using their words as evidence of who we are. And maybe that's where healing starts. Not by pretending the wound never happened. Not by pretending the words didn't hurt, but by finally being able to say, that may have been part of my story, but it doesn't get to define the rest of it. So before you go, I want to leave you with one question. What's something you've believed about yourself for so long that you've never stopped to ask whether it's actually true? I'll see you next week.